what we're going to be doing, we'll have 3 speakers here now, and then after that, we'll gather together for our march. We're heading to the Console Energy Center, after which we're heading for UPMC, and then we'll finish things off at Governor Corbett's office.
Corporate!
So, and
Guillermo
we'll have speakers
Perez,
on each of those stops, so stick with us,
USW.
stay on the march, and we'll raise some hell.
Oh, okay, it's okay. This is May Day.
All right, the first speaker
Pittsburgh
is me.
Freedom Corner.
Yeah, don't get that excited. All right. Today is May Day. International Workers' Day, a day celebrated by labor movement activists all over the world. And a day that's gotten much more attention recently here in the United States, because since 2006, it's also been adopted as a national day of mobilization in support of immigrant rights. Let's hear it for immigrant rights. Si se puede. I've been asked to say a few words about the origins of May Day and how it relates to the current struggle of working people here in Pittsburgh, across the country, and around the world. For those of you who don't know, May Day became International Workers' Day as a way of remembering 4 Chicago anarchists who were executed in 1886 for the crime of having espoused revolution against a virulent strain of capitalism, at that time known as laissez-faire.
That sounds familiar.
It does. Actually, it's very familiar. It's based on the idea that big business should be allowed to do whatever they want. And in 1886, here in the United States, they killed you for that. They killed 4 anarchist brothers. They arrested 8 originally. So what was all that about? Well, the anarchists had joined the national 8-hour movement that was causing labor unrest across the country as workers began demanding an 8-hour day. Their slogan was, 8 hours for work, 8 hours for rest, and 8 hours for what we will. Still a pretty good slogan today, I would say, as so many working people have to pull together 2 and 3 jobs, right? For a lot of folks, a 40-hour work week, even an 8-hour work day, is a luxury that they can't afford. So in some ways, the anarchist struggle and the labor movement struggle for an 8-hour day still resonates with us today. On May 1st, 1886, that was to be the day of national strikes in support of a demand for an 8-hour day. In Chicago, 40,000 workers struck. And in one particular strike, 4 striking workers were shot dead by the police. The anarchists had called for a rally 3 days later to protest the shootings. And after 180 police officers arrived to shut down the meeting, a bomb exploded. And 7 policemen died. And then 3 other people died as a result of the police shooting into the crowd. Of the 4 anarchists who were executed for the bombing, 3 were not even there. And 1 of them was speaking to the crowd at the time the bomb went off. Labor activists around the world protested their execution. They came to be known as the Haymarket Martyrs. 120 years later, in 2006, a similar great uprising took place in cities across the United States. Millions of immigrants and their supporters took to the streets to protest an anti-immigrant bill that had passed the U.S. House. That bill never passed the Senate, but since that time we've seen a rash of similar bills pass state legislatures, starting in Arizona and now extending to Alabama and Georgia. Today, all over the country, just as they have since 2006, immigrant rights activists, together with the support of the Occupy movement, have mobilized to demand amnesty for the millions of undocumented and an end to the legalized hatred that criminalizes hard-working, law-abiding immigrant workers, calling them illegals, as if they were less than human. Brothers and sisters, our answer is simple. No human being is illegal. And speaking of who is and isn't a human being, let's do a quick review. Anarchists, yes?
Yes!
Women, yes?
Yes!
How about teenage African Americans?
Yes!
How about immigrants?
Yes!
How about Latino immigrants?
Yes!
How about undocumented Latino immigrants?
Yes!
And how about corporations?
No!
Hell no is our answer. So, we're almost there. In this year of the great uprising known as the Occupy Wall Street movement, we should remember the Haymarket martyrs, 3 of whom were also immigrants. And we should show solidarity to those of the 99% who suffer profoundly for the crime of working without papers to support their families. And we should steel ourselves for the tough fights ahead, brothers and sisters, the fight against the austerity that the 1% are trying like hell to force on us. And like those Haymarket martyrs, we should demand an end to the current virulent form of global capitalism we suffer under today, called neoliberalism, a form of capitalism that expressly puts profits ahead of labor rights, ahead of civil rights, ahead of human rights. This is an international fight that we must wage locally, statewide, nationally, and of course internationally. For, as the immigrant rights movement has taught us, las luchas obreras no tienen fronteras. The fight for workers' rights has no borders. So when I ask you, are you ready for a fight? I want to hear you say damn right. Are you ready for a fight? 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 And what's it about? It's about workers' rights. What's it about?
Workers' rights!
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 And who has the power?
We do!
And what kind of power? Workers' power, right? Today it's May Day. Today it's workers' power. Who has the power? We have the power. What kind of power?
Workers' power!
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 All right. Sí se puede. 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 All right. So, we're about to move on to other speakers, but on the subject of Spanish, let's learn a new Spanish chant today for May Day. What do you say? This one's especially for Occupy. All right? So I'm going to say, Occupy, vive, vive, vive. And you'll say, la lucha, sigue, sigue, sigue. It means, Occupy lives, the struggle continues. All right? So it's Occupy, vive, vive, vive. Say it with me. Occupy, vive, vive, vive. La lucha, sigue, sigue, sigue. Occupy, vive, vive, vive. La lucha,
Sigue, sigue, sigue.
Occupy, vive, vive, vive. La lucha,
Sigue, sigue, sigue!
muy bien, compañeros. Muy bien dicho. All right. On to our next speaker. I'm proud to have with us today, speaking to you, Typhoon Gall from the Party of Socialism and Liberation. Typhoon, come on up.